right.
Take
Welcome
two.
to another episode of This Is Our Year. And what are you drinking, Doug? Because we already talked about that. We've had some technical difficulties.
In honor of City Field, $60 nachos. Happy opening day, everybody. Go see Hoof Hearted Brewery, North Haven. Good shit.
I, I like that. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I didn't get it on the first take, but I get it on the
Yeah.
second take.
Well,
So,
this is why we fuck up.
right. So
We
you're
get
wearing,
better.
so you're wearing your Mets throwback from the aughts.
Yeah, I want to say this old shirt's from the Oots. Good standby. I usually wear it on opening day.
Yeah.
Um, I
Wasn't
have I don't have like an extensive Mets wardrobe. And I don't have any jerseys, but I do have quite a few tees. You'll see during the year. Although I'm always open to new shit. You buy Mets gear a lot, right? Is that a new hat?
This is a new hat. I want to talk about the
Nice.
shirt first. So I think you have the same shirt,
Yeah.
right? I sent it to
Well,
you.
no, I have it, but I have it in small because you meant to send or you meant to give it to Josh and vice versa or
Right.
something. So it's been
Yes.
sitting in
And you
my house
guys
for like 3 years. Yeah.
you guys have never made the swap.
We always
Typical.
forget every time
Typical. But
yeah,
but yeah, so I'm wearing the polar bear shirt in
nice.
honor of hopefully this not being his last season as a Met.
Hopefully not the farewell tour. No.
Hopefully not the farewell tour. I think that would be a humongous misfire to not resign him. I don't care if we have to overpay him or give him a longer deal and watch him fade away, unless maybe in September if he's hitting 200 with like 40 home runs and like 90 RBIs and we're in fifth place, like maybe we do rethink that, right? But as it's currently constituted, and as he's been the face of the franchise for the last 5 years, I really would love to see Mr. Alonso get the big deal to retire a New York Metropolitan for the rest of his career.
Cheers to that. Um,
Yes.
Couple of things though, and I've agreed with you this whole time on that. Since the start, I thought it was crazy. The more time that goes by, though, the more I think about just the reality. This is a new leadership, and also it seems Pete might want to test the market. I mean, let's not assume he loves it here. I mean, I think he does, but we went through this with Jake DeGrom. And I know it's not a perfect comparison because I don't think the Mets offered as much money, but as the Texas Rangers, but sometimes you want to go somewhere else too. So it should be interesting. The Mets need to be in contention at the deadline. Uh, if you're not, you have to consider what you can get for him. I hate to say that, but I'm with you. I would rather re-sign him no matter what.
Totally. And there's so many variables. It's opening day though,
Yeah,
right? So
exactly. Let's not
at the end of the
to Pete though. Let's
yes, to
hope this
Pete.
isn't the farewell tour.
Let's hope this isn't the farewell tour. But to your point, we do need to be in contention, or it's going to be an interesting deadline. And if we are not in contention, and we do exactly what we did last year, which was the right move, as much
It
as
was.
like we don't like Billy, and we have all these other issues with like Cohen spending too much, whatever. We went out and we retooled our farm system
Absolutely.
for a bunch of money and veteran players who had no place on this team going forward. Two things that are true now are that our farm system is far better, but our pitching staff is far worse. However, both the guys we traded started the year on the injured list, so it's not like
Oh, I know.
we
Yeah.
we didn't. I think we still made the right move no matter what.
This isn't losing Zach Wheeler, losing the 240-year-old guys. And as you mentioned, they rebuilt the farm, which means that the pitching problem isn't a problem when you toss a prospect or two to get someone. Now, it's too bad Burns is off the market, but like that's the kind of deal you're going to think about here. And I even if they're like 500 or even if they're out of contention, I don't put it past Stearns to make bold moves this year, even if it's not for the end result of winning this year, if that makes
Yeah,
sense. So I,
totally.
I don't think you look at it as a normal year where it's like we're either in or out. We're either out and we sell or we're in and we buy. It's like it's again, this is Stearns just getting started and
Right,
he wants to put his own mark on this team. So
and what I think to pivot that to opening day today.
yeah,
We lost 3-1. We got one hit, and like it was a fucking blustery, gross day. I don't know why they start baseball. I don't know why the Mets open. Like they shouldn't open. And this is just a like thought. Like any team that doesn't have a dome or that's like
Yeah.
north of the
You
Mason
think
Dixon
they could figure out the scheduling?
should not be opening a game in March. At least put them on the road for 7 games. Let them get home in early April. It's still going to be probably the same weather, but it's just dumb, dude. It just.
If
But
you
that's just a
were
pet. That's a pet peeve of mine,
but if you were the owner of the Mets or like the Red Sox, you'd be like, whoa, hold on. Why does what my team has to open on the road for a week every season? I
dude. But
mean,
do you remember when I used to live back home, and I had my rules about going to games? What do
oh
you
yeah,
remember
no,
my
I'm with
number
you.
one rule? What's my number one rule about
No
attending?
April baseball in Queens.
Yes, I
No,
don't. I
like
actually don't go to a game till
till
after
June
Memorial
1st,
Day.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's usually June 1st. The
yep,
Johan no hitter towards
that's
the end
right.
of the year. So I typically won't go until it's warm enough to be enjoyable. I don't want to go sit there and freeze my ass off, or drive all the way to Queens and
Yeah.
go into what ends up happening when we go before. We did go. Didn't we go in April a couple years ago? And we saw the Nats, and we ended up spending
Yes, it's
because
like the
it
first
just
week
had
of the year.
I just happened to be in town that week, and so we made an exception. And what did we do?
It
We
was a day
spent
game.
seven. It was a day game. It was a little chilly, but we
Yeah,
probably spent 6 of the 9 innings that we were there in the Delta Club,
right.
getting shit faced and watching the game on TV, which we could have done from your apartment for $0.
Hey, oh, whatever. It was fun, but you're right. Like once the sun went away, it was like sitting in 50-degree weather. The ladies definitely weren't having it, right? So
Right.
yeah,
I
no,
don't want
it's
to watch like when I saw the opening day crowd today. People in beanies and like winter coats. Like that looks miserable to me. I don't.
it's
I
still
have
winter here,
Yeah, I have zero
pretty much.
desire. So anyway, that's a whole separate point. But the
No, man,
fact of
like
what
Willie Peralta pitched really well today. What are you gonna do?
he pitched really well, it was blustery.
Hmm.
But I think where I was going with this whole diatribe was you were talking about Stearns and what he's going to do with putting his mark on the team. You saw the team that he put his mark on. There's no real superstar on that team, right? You could argue that Christian Yelich is the guy, but like of the everyday players, I mean, I don't know who. I couldn't tell you who their second, third, or shortstop was. I guess Willie Adames. I could tell you who he is, but he's okay.
Adames is a good player, yeah.
He's a good player. Their
But you're right.
catcher. I
Yelik's
don't
on
know
his
their catcher. Yelik's like on his downturn in left
yeah, he
field.
is.
I don't know who that center fielder. And
That
part of this is
chorizo
shame on
guy
me.
though is going to be a fucking player.
Yes,
Chorio. I'm
yes,
jealous.
yes. But that's all right. He
But
he
yeah,
he had a good game, but and Reese Hoskins is still a piece of shit. But
yeah,
as
for real.
much as let's talk about that play for a second.
Yeah.
He's breaking up a double play, whatever, illegal slide, whatever. He spiked Jeff and he took his leg out, and he's a dickhead and he hates the
Hmm.
Mets and we hate him. I This is what I want to see before we get into anything else. What kind of team is this going to be this year?
Hmm.
I think Luis Severino takes the ball tomorrow, and I'm sure Reese Hoskins is going to be in the lineup. And I would love for him to get drilled on his first at bat, just to say, hey,
Yeah.
don't mess with us.
We're not taking
You
this
want it.
shit
Yeah,
again.
we're not taking that shit. And I think it would just like I don't know if you remember. It was Terry's last year, and I think it was Lindor's first year, or maybe it was Buck's first year, and Buck got thrown out of the game. It was like game number 2 or 3 because they
Yes.
like hit 3 guys in a row, and I was like, you gotta do it, man. And now we got Mendoza, in the dugout, and a bunch of new guys, and they're probably looking to gel. If I'm Severino, I'm drilling Reese Hoskins first at bat tomorrow.
I
And
like
if
it.
he doesn't, I'm gonna say this might be a meh year because we're probably gotta. If I'm Jeff McNeil and you don't drill Hoskins on his first at bat, I'm probably like, fuck you. Thanks for standing up for me, buddy. Like he clearly spiked me. He clearly slid out of the baseline to hit me. And sure, you're breaking up the double play, but like there's a way to break up the double play, and then there's a way to injure
Yeah.
someone. And that Jeff could have got injured on that play.
Yeah.
So
Did you see Jeff after the game? He was talking about how, like, first of all, there is a bit, obviously, there's a lot of history between Reese and the Mets. It's a ton.
correct,
And
correct.
Jeff's been around here and Jeff's been covering that bag for, 5 years at least. So, but yeah, he was saying that fine, like technically it was a legal slide, but it was late. and and Jeff was like, when now that we have to stand on second base because that's like they're enforcing that rule, I try to put my right leg way far out, and Reese hit that too. And he
Yes.
also like could have like destroyed his left knee, by the way. That was the lucky part.
Right.
But the fact that like he went that far out to get like both legs, I think like Jeff's like fuck you, right?
right.
So
It was, they were guesstimating on the show. I didn't watch the post game because I was like,
mhm,
ugh, let me
yeah,
turn this shit off. But when he spiked him, and
yeah,
that's what pissed me off. His right leg was so far back and out of the baseline and off the base, and
yeah,
he went and he spiked him. He went to
yeah.
spike him, and that was like, I would have been pissed too. I probably would have punched him in the face.
And it looked like
So
he put a lot of weight on the front knee, on the front leg that was braced, right? Again,
right.
because these guys can't do the neighborhood play anymore. They have to stay they have to stay there. They're a target. So I don't know. I don't know what the rule
I
is.
I don't know what the rule is either, but he definitely spiked him, and like Jeff's leg was 3 feet behind second base.
Right.
If you're sliding into second base to break up the double play, like I could get if he spiked his front leg that was on the base, I would say okay, like baseball play, trying to break up the double play, little bit dirty, but doing what you got to do for your team.
Yeah.
But to get his back leg 3 feet behind the base and spike him and say that that was a legal slide, fine. Then tomorrow he needs to get drilled first fucking at bat and call it a day. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I'm sure Severino will get thrown out of the game, so they should probably be prepared to, you know, back him up. And it's just gonna fuck it, lose a game
Oh yeah.
through a bullpen
Who cares?
but fortify the fucking team, man.
Yeah.
Like that message needs to be sent. Like you're not gonna fuck with us because, dude, there's been so many years where we have just rolled over when that shit's happened. Sean
Yeah.
Estes
Unfortunately,
throwing
yeah.
behind fucking Roger Clemens like a
Yep.
huge pussy. Guys getting hit and no retaliation. Those days got to end, man. You gotta.
The Ruben Tejada thing. Murphy got taken out at second once early in his career. Also, McNeil mentioned that if Beatty had made a throw to his like chest or head, he wouldn't have even seen Reese coming, and it might have been a lot worse. And like he
Right.
was like he was lucky that Beatty kind of like underthrew it, because then I was like kind of down there looking. But yeah, man. Look, thank God everybody's fine. And you make a great point. This was a problem last year, right? They got beamed way more than everybody else, if I'm
Right.
not mistaken.
Right.
Um, yeah. So, God damn it, this fucking franchise we love, huh? Hey, look at
Yeah.
us. Look at us. We're marks.
Yep.
Been watching what, 40 years almost.
Almost four.
This month,
Probably 38 years.
yeah,
It's probably
like
like my 38th opening day that I've watched,
yeah. I
and
might be 39. Like
it's miserable. It's
and
fucking
no,
miserable
and it peaked in
franchise.
like year two. Like year two is the most fun. What are we
But
doing?
Doug,
Oh
but
yeah.
yeah, so I got back to the outfit. I got the fucking Alonzo shirt, and I just bought this new Fanatics Mets
Oh,
golf hat.
all
So
right. So it's
it's
gonna
got
fall
this.
apart next week.
Yeah, it's got this like little. I don't know what this is.
The
It's
little
really
admiral's mark.
it, it's really fucking small. It's already hurting my head,
Oh
but
yeah.
this will be my new golf hat for the year,
Well, I'm.
and why
Is
not?
this fan? Yeah. No. Oh no. This is 47 Grant brand or something. But I have that problem. I have a huge noggin. All my hats are
Too
minuscule,
small.
except for the $60 nachos. I'll bring it back. There we go.
So now I will take this new hat off, and I'll go to my old hat right here, which is last year's purchase from Fanatics, which is also New Era, which is the California Mets hat, which
Yeah.
I guess at one point this was cool. It's not cool.
Ain't
The
cool,
Mets aren't
man.
cool. But let's talk about the opening day roster. How do you feel about it?
I'll feel better about it in 2 weeks when JDM is here.
Okay.
Otherwise, no. I think the bullpen is vastly improved just by Diaz being back. Everybody slots down. I'm looking forward to seeing what Diekman and some of the other guys. Geez, I'm blanking all of a sudden. Who's the other guy that?
Ramirez,
Yeah,
Tonkin, Lopez.
yeah.
Lopez gave up a
Well,
run today.
Lopez wasn't great today, but yeah, Tonkin got through too. Um, Yeah, no, I've been telling you guys I think the rotation's better than it looks like on paper, but they got to prove themselves. So, um, another thing to be happy about, at least maybe, is that the fact that did you hear this on the new on the game? Um, the three biggest drop offs in 2023, like batting wise, two of them were on the Mets, and the other guy was a guy the Mets really tried really hard to sign right before the year. Did you hear who those people were?
I'm assuming it's Pete and Jeff,
Yep,
and the guy that we tried to sign before this year or before last year.
before last year, and he just absolutely tanked last year.
I'm assuming that is that Chris Bryant?
No, no, good guess. Carlos Correa.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
was a good non-signing.
yeah, and then throw in Marte basically being hurt the whole year.
Right,
That's three guys in the lineup, and Pete on an off year still has like an all star caliber year, but like he had a seriously unlucky year. McNeil
yeah.
basically,
His
yeah,
balls in
his
balls
Babbitt,
in play. Yeah, was like the
Babbitt.
worst in the National League, I
Yeah,
believe.
it was like since they started tracking it, right? And McNeil's just he was the batting champ the year before, and
Right, and
he
he
went
hit
to
260
700
last year.
OPS with 10 home runs. So
Right.
if these guys can just return to career norms, I do feel good about the lineup. How about you?
Yeah, I think today was Peralta, like you said, Peralta pitched really well. The Brewers, I was trying to make that point before. Like you see what a Stearns team looks like today on the opposition. Like really good defense. You know, we and we lost 3-1, so it wasn't like our
Yeah,
pitching was bad. You
no,
give up 3 runs in a game, you should
Q was
expect to
fun.
win.
Yeah,
You should expect to win. So.
I'll take that from
Uh,
Quintana at every start.
I mean, I would like him to go six instead of 4 2/3. He had a rough first inning.
Oh,
He
you know
couldn't.
what?
He couldn't find. He couldn't find the
I thought
strike zone.
I thought he went 5 2/3. My bad.
No, he went 4 2/3.
All
Gave up
right,
one. He gave up 2 runs in 4 2/3, and then Lopez gave up 1 run
got to at
at some
least get to
point,
the
and
sixth.
got to at least get to the
Okay,
sixth. But it's opening day, and he
it
was
is.
fucking trying. He was trying to find the zone. He was nibbling the first inning. Got lucky to get out of it with that double play. It was a nice play by Beatty to turn it with McNeil and Alonso, and that was Reese boy grounding into that double play. So
Yeah,
you know, yeah, first inning was so long ago, Doug, so long ago.
it
But
was.
I do think that the bullpen is set up nicely. We got two lefties that bring a little something different. They're both kind of junk ball lefties. We
Yeah,
got a couple of flamethrowers. We got a couple of weird arm angle guys between Tonkin and Ottavino. And we got
and we're gonna see a lot of other guys too. So it's like we'll
and we
see
got
if
the best.
Ramirez is anything.
We
Who
got the
knows?
well. He had a great spring and
He
he
did.
had some good years
Credit to him.
prior to last year. Same thing with
And
Lopez. I mean, both those guys
mm,
had really good years prior to last year. They throw in the upper 90s. They got some good stuff. So
hell yeah.
I think you
And
see you see Stearns put Bader in center field and move Nimmo to left. That I mean, we basically have three center fielders playing the outfield right now. Two of them are just a little diminished in their older age, and then we have a Gold Glove winner in center field.
no,
Our
the
outfield
defense
defense
back
should
there is great. And
our
Taylor is
outfield
a
defense like top notch guy off the bench. We should be and the whole we upgraded our bench this year. We got rid of Guillorme and who Narvaez is the same.
we'll see if it's an upgrade, but Guillaume wasn't doing much. So yeah, we have Wendell and Short probably battling for that one spot. Or actually, they probably send down DJ
That's my guess.
when yeah
Stewart's
when
probably going to play DH until
he
JD
has
gets here, and
he
then
has an option left, I think.
yep, he'll go
Uh,
down and play
he'll be up and
AAA.
down all year though.
I think so.
Syracuse looks good. It's like a fun roster. Acuna is up there. Gilbert is starting there, and they have some. They have Iglesias and Choi. They have some major league talent there too. So, and also the pitching, man. Hamill and Vassell, I believe. I think Tidwell's in Double A, right?
I'm not sure. Did Luke Voigt go down to
He got
AAA?
released. He is
He
no
got
longer in
totally
the yeah
outright released.
yeah.
Okay.
But Choi hung around, so that'll be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we got some guys. We actually have some depth of quad A guys, and we've got some good mix of youth there as well, which is nice. We haven't
Yeah.
had much in AAA for the past few
Nate
years. So
Lavender is probably a future MLB bullpen piece.
yep.
That's perfect right there. We haven't developed too many of those guys.
No,
Sandy
no.
and Epler had a huge problem developing relief pitching. This is Stearns, probably greatest skill, or at least that's what the Brewers have been known for through the years. Their bullpen is just always insane.
I mean,
So,
their bullpen shut us to no hit us today, so
yep,
it's definitely if we can emulate what they have on the field. There's no superstars, but there's some young talent mixed in with some veteran guys and some good major league, above average major league players. A couple guys on the back end of their career. I'm curious to see how this year turns out.
I
Curious
love
to
it.
see.
We have the spring optimism, man. Let's go.
Let's
It's
go.
opening day. Let's be happy, and it could all go to shit real easy with this rotation, as you said. But today was not the kind of game you told us to expect. You were telling us to expect these high scoring. We lose 9-7 every time. That was a tight 3-1 baseball game.
Yep.
What are you going to do?
I would have liked a few more hits. I would have liked to see a little bit
Yeah,
more offense. I think also watching the game, the ump's strike zone changed halfway through the game, and he was definitely squeezing. And it seemed like we got squeezed just a little bit more than the Brewers did. But these are like ticky tack things that you got to work through during the season, right? Can't
yeah.
Everything
Were
can't
you
go
full
perfect.
attention today? Or were you like working at the same time? I was
Uh,
multitasking. So
I watched the first inning, and then I had work until the seventh inning.
yeah.
So I missed the second through sixth.
Okay.
I missed
You
all the
didn't miss
runs
much.
basically. Yeah, well, I missed all the runs, but I
Well, actually,
saw
Marte almost took another one out. He looked very good at the plate today.
I saw that. I saw that opposite field and
Yeah,
thought it was going to get over Churio's head or whatever his name is.
yeah.
But all right, so what are your predictions, Douglas? What are your predictions on the year?
I'm going to be so wrong about this, but I'm going 90. Let's effing go. And again, I think that goes back to I think they're going to add during the season, regardless. I
I
think Stearns is just going to do his shit.
Spring optimist. I love it.
Yes.
I am not as optimistic as you are. I think we are going to be 81 and 81 this year. I think we are going
Well,
to.
history proves that you'll probably be right with this goddamn team, but I don't care.
Yes, I think we got a lot of guys on
Let's go
1 year
Mets, baby.
deals, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, let's go Mets. Let's see what happens.
It'll be a
So we
fun
got
year though, because you mentioned the 1 year deal guys aren't going to stay in the lineup if they're not performing, and then we'll start seeing the future. We're going to see some of
right.
these prospects later in the year, so
If
it's going
Harrison
to be a good
Bader
time.
is not playing up to par, or we're
Yeah,
not keeping up in the standings, that's a guy that can be dealt.
even
Mark.
JDM.
Right. I mean,
Like
it's
sometimes guys are
easy.
just washed at 37 or 38.
Correct. So we'll
So
see what happens, and then you will see some Drew Gilberts and Louis Saint Allen.
hell yeah,
There's a guy
maybe
that
even a Jet.
there's a guy that you got to keep also an eye towards possibly getting moved this year, and he has been a fan favorite, a Met for a while. And he got spiked today, but he's got some youth coming up. He's in the second year of a 4 year, very team friendly deal,
Yes, it's a
and
movable contract.
it's a very movable contract. And there's not a team in baseball that wouldn't want that guy hitting. I mean, he hit fourth today. I'm not loving that idea,
No,
but
that
I
sucked.
get, I get why.
Yeah,
But I think it's a placeholder until
that's not the
Martinez
long
gets
term
there.
plan, right?
No, but I think he is a guy. If I don't even think it matters what he does this year. I think it matters how the team plays this year. And if we're out of it, that's a guy that could get moved so that Acuna or Williams can take over that position
It
because
opens the spot,
it opens the spot.
especially if there's a market for him. I don't know if there is, but he was pretty pedestrian last year. So
Very pedestrian last year, but if he's hitting 300 this year, he's got 10 dingers and 60 RBIs and a couple stolen bases, and he's playing good second base.
yeah,
I mean, and the fact is, yes, he's going to play second base predominantly for us this year, but that doesn't mean an acquiring team can't do what we've done with them the past 4 years and just put him in left, put him in right, put him in at
he can
second,
play
put him at.
third.
He can
Yeah,
play third in a pinch,
yep.
like ultimate utility guy going to a contender, making 12 million a year. It's not a shit ton of money,
No,
So
it's not. And and he's versatile. I mean, if these kids come up and they can't get rid of him, he becomes a super sub slash extra outfielder. But you're right. Yeah, then you try to move that contract, obviously. But it's not a terrible contract. And we loved it when he signed, obviously. So I'm not going to give up on the guy. But
No, I'm
no,
not
that's
saying it
fair.
from that standpoint at all. I like Jeff McNeil. I think he's a good, homegrown talent. I'm just saying, he's on the other side of 30 now, and we got two of our bigger prospects that both play probably. I mean, Lindor's not going anywhere, right? Let's be honest about
No,
that. And
he better not
Drew
be, man.
and Drew Gilbert's probably your center fielder next
Yeah.
year if everything goes according to plan. Marte's still got another year on his contract. So where are you going to play these guys, right? So maybe one of them is your trade bait and the other one is your second baseman of the future. But unless you're talking about trading Lindor, I don't see how, unless you, or you're going to play one of them at DH and the other one at second base. But bottom line is, I'm worried that Jeff has an expiration date on this
Yeah.
roster.
Okay. No, and I mean that's the brutal side of this business. And the reason why I talk about a trade where they buy a player is exactly why, or it's exactly connected to what you were just talking about. All these guys are great prospects, but the thing about prospects is they're great in prospects until they're not, until they're like they get exposed. Um, maybe you deal one of them for that pitching help that this team really really needs. So
Totally,
yeah,
and I
there's
think
going to be a lot of like action and drama with the Mets. It might not be the most successful year. I hope it is, but yeah,
I
we're
think
gonna have plenty to talk about during the year.
and I think some of some other issues that we've encountered this year are exactly to your point. Mark Vientos, the glean is off the rose.
Yeah.
He couldn't. I saw a stat, and you've been pounding the table for this, and I've been trying to be a
I don't
truther.
want to, but I don't see it.
No, but I saw it in spring training, and the stat that was the knife or the nail in the coffin for me was fastballs over 95, velocity over 95 miles an hour. He's like,
He's not
that's like
getting around on it.
one something, and then over 97 it's like under 100.
Yeah.
And that passed the eye test with me when I was watching spring training. Anything over 90 in the upper 90s,
Yeah.
he was just so late on
He
it. He
can't
just
catch it. It's a long
can't catch
swing.
up.
He's a big dude.
Yep. So
I remember Ike Davis having this problem late in his career too. He just couldn't keep up.
yeah, so I
But
don't know. I don't. Maybe he goes down and shortens his swing and learns how to play
I
third.
hope
I don't know.
so.
Yeah,
I have a feeling he'll mash. He could be the classic quadruple A guy. So,
yeah.
but yeah, you're right. He probably doesn't have any trade value anymore.
No, after this spring
It
those
goes
stats.
quick. Yeah,
Yep, yep. After this spring and those stats, like if those stats are on Twitter or Twix, as I heard it called the other day,
Twix.
then every MLB scout has those stats. Like
Yeah,
they're looking at that. So
yeah. And
all right,
like everybody the Mets traded for was like 21 or 20, like or younger, right? Like last year, I don't think there was any. What is Gilbert like
I think
22 maybe?
Acuna and Gilbert are 22, 23.
Okay. Well,
But
Mark's
let's take a look.
24, so
Mark's 24.
it's Esther, get off the pot. Dad, I didn't want to say
Uh,
shit.
Hold on, let me see if I can find this. I'm trying to look this shit up, but it's MLB now owns everybody's
Yeah,
website.
yeah.
So
So anyway, we got a game tomorrow, Saturday afternoon, and I like that. You can't be playing night games in Queens in April for sure. And it's just good to have this back. This is a great time of the year, by the way, with the tourney and NBA, NHL, getting to the playoffs, and
yeah.
NFL draft.
So let me pause you for 1 second before we
I
move
was
on.
just doing filler.
Acuna he just turned 22
Yeah, man, he's young.
on March 12th, one day before me. So he just turned 22,
How old
and
are you? Like
then
28 now?
yeah,
Yeah.
I am 45, and then let's see what is
I'm a
Vientos just
45-year-old man. I am
Vientos just
strong.
turned 24. Maurizio is about to be 23,
I
and then we're
drive a
talking.
Dodge Stratus.
I drive it. Beatty is about to turn 25 this year, but he just turned 24, and I don't see Gilbert or
I
anything
think
like
Mark's
that.
24. Yeah, Gilbert's, I would say 22, I think.
Probably fair, but I thought he was a senior in college, so maybe he's 23. He might be a little older.
Hmm.
Well, you're right. Anyway, let's start talking about other things now. There was a big trade today for the New York
Yeah, man.
Football Jets.
Nice pickup.
We haven't talked any offseason football in a while. You ready to pivot to some offseason football?
Let's
I am.
go, baby. Yeah.
I am. I am. There we go. That's much
Nice.
better. New logo coming out, coming back from the dead.
I love it.
Thank you very much. I love it too. This
Bring
is the
back
logo they should.
everything from the 80s,
I mean, dude, the Giants
except the
logo. Come
hole in
on.
the ozone layer.
Oh, did that get healed? I think
I
that got
think it
healed
did.
with spray cheese.
We banned all the goddamn spray cheese, so it
That's
healed.
right. That's right. Um, so the Jets. Let's talk about their offseason real quick. We picked up Tyron Smith as our left tackle, which was huge.
Very good.
We picked up Morgan Moses as our right tackle in a trade for nothing. We traded back 20 picks in the fourth round, and we gave up a sixth-round pick.
That is
Do
nothing.
that. I do
Tell
that.
us real quick about Moses.
Moses was a right tackle for the Ravens. He was the
Oh, that's
right
right.
tackle
Yeah.
for the Jets 3 years ago. We let him go in free agency because we had George Fant and we drafted Mekhi Becton. Becton was a bust. Probably should have never let him go. George Fant played an admirable left tackle. Moses played a great right tackle the 1 year he played for us. And we let him go and he signed with the Ravens. And we just traded for him for basically a sixth-round pick. He played last year with a partially torn pectoral muscle that he had surgery on in the offseason.
Ouch.
So I think the Ravens were willing to let him go to save the money, which was not a lot, but just to get a little younger, they got some good prospects on their O line that they always develop great O linemen. Smith came from the Cowboys. He's an All Pro when he's healthy,
When he's healthy, yeah.
and
No, it's great.
he's never played more than 13 games in a season in the last 4 years.
Holy shit!
So
I didn't realize. Wow.
yeah, that's why so he came out after we signed him, and we signed him to an laden
Yeah.
incentive laden contract, which was 1 year, 6.5 million, and then it's like all these step ups for playing time, and it can be as much as 20.5 if he plays the whole season every game, he will make 20.5 million.
Well,
But
the good news is no one ever goes to the Jets and immediately gets hurt or goes off the cliff.
can we save that for the end, please?
I
Can
know. I'm
can
sorry.
I have my excitement for
I
like?
can't resist.
I
You can
know.
knock. By the way, you can knock the Giants now. We've been shitty for more than a decade. So
Well, we'll get when we get to the playoffs, then you'll probably have the longest drought, and then we can. No, you guys went 2 years ago. That's not true.
yeah, that's right.
You guys will not have had. You haven't been shitty for that long. You've been shitty for 1 year. You had a nice year prior to that. Then you were shitty for probably like 5 years before that. Six
Yeah,
years
it was a
before
long
that. Yeah.
time.
Yes, but we've been shitty for 13 years, Doug. So there's not a worse franchise
I
in all
think
of
that I
NFL.
think that number is bigger, but we can move
13
on.
years. 13 years.
Oh yeah. You're going playoffs, but overall sucking. Like,
Well, no, we went to the AFC Championship game back to back years before those 13 years. We were good. We had
oh god,
Sanchez and Rex Ryan, and we
yeah,
had one of the best defenses in
that's
the
fair.
NFL. We had a great offense. We just felt. I think Ryan's shtick got old and kind
Are
of
we sure that happened? That wasn't all a fever dream or part of the sim we're in?
maybe
Mark
maybe it's
Sanchez really went to two
well,
straight championship games? Huh.
Mark Sanchez is like second in New
Yeah.
York Jets history for playoff wins.
Right.
So that says it all right there. That
Oh
says it
god.
all right. But yeah, man. So we got our offense, and we signed John Simpson also from Baltimore. We're changing from a zone blocking. It looks like we're changing from a zone blocking scheme to a power scheme, which is very exciting because do you understand the difference between those two
No,
things?
explain it for me and the viewers at home.
So zone blocking scheme is you go to a place, right? Like
Yeah, all right.
your lineman will go to a place and block whoever is around them and that place, and then the runner will look for there's like two gaps. There's like the A gap and the B gap,
Makes
and
sense, yeah.
whatever gaps open, that's the one they have to see the vision and go. with the power running, I think there's just what like you
Just
crush your
fucking
guy
crush everybody. Yeah,
right across from you,
yeah.
and you
That would
have
have
to
been my
beat him.
guess.
Yeah, you have to beat him at the point of attack, and then I believe with that scheme there is a designed like hole for them to run
Yeah.
into,
Well, there
and if
should
you
be.
win,
Yeah.
yeah, and if you win your block, if everyone wins their blocks, you should have
Mhm.
a big hole,
No,
which
no,
is
it's
why the Raven
man to man versus zone, basically. Just
exactly,
in
and
that
it's why
context.
the Ravens were so good. And so the other thing that I am excited about is we brought over Keith Carter, who was the offensive line coach of the Tennessee Titans for many years of the Derrick Henry years, and we brought him over last year. And I believe Tennessee ran a power scheme with Henry. I don't think it was a zone scheme. And so you bring over Carter, and he's trying to run this zone scheme, and it just wasn't what he was good at. So I
Got it.
believe everything they did this year, they got lined up to run more of a power scheme, man on man scheme to open the holes because Brees Hall is a top 3 running back in the NFL, and you only have him for 2 more years before you either have to pay him or he leaves. So, yeah, that is
No, no, that's great because Brees is going to have to carry a lot of the load. Your quarterback hasn't played in a while, and is also
right,
very old. So,
right.
yeah. Who's your what's the depth chart behind Brees? Is it Israel and or who am I forgetting? At
Uh,
running
the
back.
depth the depth chart behind Brees is right now Abanaconda,
Yeah.
and that is that is it.
Am
That
I
is
forget?
it.
Yeah, I was
So
trying to.
no, we let go of Dalvin Cook, and
Right.
that's pretty much where we're at. So
Yeah, but there's still going to be a ton of player movement in the NFL, so it's early. But yeah, how many weeks till the draft? About a month,
about 3 weeks at this point. I
less.
think it's
Yeah,
April 20th. Yeah. So
420, man. Uh, cool. No, yeah, man. I can't wait to do the mock. I have no idea I have no idea what's going to happen, but that's always a fun show. So, well, who you guys picking? Brock,
I think
enough to get
I
that
would love,
QB.
yeah, I would love for one of the wide receivers to make it to us at 10. I don't think that's going to happen. I think
How many wide receivers are you talking about?
there's Marvin Harrison Jr., there's Malik Neighbors, and there's Rome Odunze.
So just the three.
Just those three
Okay.
in the top 10. I mean,
Right. No, for
so
for the Jets, like at that pick. Yeah. Okay.
for the Jets at that pick, if one of those three is there, I don't think Harrison or Neighbors will be there. I think there's a slight chance Odunze can be there. I would love
Wow.
to take Odunze.
Yeah.
If Odunze is gone, then I would like to see either them trade back and pick up some more capital, like a second round pick, because we don't have one from the Rodgers trade. And
Hmm.
this is a deep draft for O linemen and wide receivers. And if we can go down to like 16, get a second round pick, take the best wide receiver in at 16 or the best offensive lineman, whoever they have ranked higher, and then in the second round, converse
That's good
whatever's
thinking.
there. I think either of those things would be great.
So you
Um,
wouldn't just like fix tight end.
I mean,
That's
Bowers is a very exciting thought because he is the Yak King. He owns the middle of the
yeah,
field,
right.
and he
Another
is
Laporta.
he's a great all around tight end. He's not like the best blocker. He's not the best, uh,
Yeah, he's more of an offensive
speedster.
weapon.
He's more of an offensive weapon, but he can block. He can handle what needs to be handled. So if he can do what he needs to do, and then own the middle of the field so Rogers has a check down and then he can get that yak. That's six because he averaged 6 yards of yak on every catch. That's ridiculous, dude.
In
That's
in
like,
a, in a very very good league. So
yeah.
yeah,
So I'm not opposed to Bowers. I think we do need another weapon for Rogers, but my bigger concern is what you said earlier. When have people come to the Jets and not and performed up to their
yeah.
career potential? And we signed Tyron Smith, who is a injury history, and we signed Mike Williams as our receiver too, who's coming off a torn
Oh, I
ACL.
know. That guy loves to get hurt too.
So between the two of those guys,
I will say
if we,
though, I remember distinctly the first 2 or 3 weeks that guy balled last year, and then of course he tears his ACL. But
yeah, totally. And I
he,
think
he he can he can play that position.
he can definitely play wide
Heck,
receiver too. He's the perfect complement to Garrett Wilson. I
yes,
think Aaron Rodgers can throw that deep ball to him, and he can go up and get it. He's one of the best contested catch guys in
yeah.
the league.
He's
If we
improved
stay,
over his career too. He had the dropsies to start, but he's got better.
he hasn't dropped balls. His drop ball rate over the last like 3 years is I think he's only dropped one ball total in the last 3 years.
Yeah,
Now,
and it
granted,
was
he
a
only played
nightmare.
three. It was a
How long has
nightmare.
he been in the league? I, I,
I
I
think
was saying
this
it
is
was a nightmare his
his.
first couple of years with that.
I think this is his sixth, seventh, or eighth
Yeah,
year this year. He's 29 going into this year. So interesting. We'll see
time
what
flies.
happens. We'll see what happens. So, um, yeah,
Yeah,
I am.
I
If
totally
he can
forgot
stay
about that.
healthy,
See, it's good to catch up.
and we just traded for Hassan Reddick today, so we've got
Yeah, man.
our defense is pretty set, man. There's like all of our starters are done. We need some depth, but our offense, we probably need a little depth on the O line and a backup running back, which I think we can get some of that stuff in the draft. And then we definitely need some depth at wide receiver. That's really why I want to trade back, because if Williams goes down, our third string receiver is Alan Lazard. He was
Okay, yeah.
terrible last year.
No, you guys
And
will
then
draft someone.
our slot guy is this kid Gibson, who he had
Hmm.
some good games, but
He flashed. Yeah,
he's an undrafted free agent, so he wasn't you know highly sought after coming out of college. So the
right.
fact that he was definitely an undrafted free agent doesn't make me go crazy. And then we got this kid Brownlee, who also is an undrafted free agent, and there's some good depth pieces, but we don't want them
Yeah.
starting. That's kind of where that goes. So yeah, that's the Jets.
I
What
mean,
about the
those
Giants,
last two
Douglas?
remind
How
me
do
of the
you
Giants room. Yeah.
Let's talk about them. Let's talk about the Giants a little bit here.
Speaking of wide receiver, right? But they have two major things they can do, and they can only do one of them, right? Um, Quarterback and receiver. And God, what a draft, right? Top three picks are going to be quarterbacks, right? There's no- I mean,
I think
so
it's going to be the top four, to be
yeah,
honest.
maybe if you believe these JJ false flags. But no, but the point is that there's going to be a ton of teams looking to trade up to jump into these high spots. And the Giants are sitting there at 6. Will they jump up to 4, as you mentioned, or whatever? Or will they trade back? Um, I think that obviously I sound like Mara, so I'm not going to say anything interesting here. But if Shane gets to pick a quarterback, if he believes in somebody to go and grab him, then I'm going to be okay. Let's go. I will say though that this team desperately needs someone like Odunze or Neighbors. So I think that's where I would go. And honestly, Mamara and everybody has been so mad at the O line. Do they just take like Joe Alt? That would be such a Giants pick,
Well,
right?
didn't you signed the
Yeah,
guy
no, no.
the
Yeah, so
Ravens?
let's back up. So the Giants actually did some cool stuff this month. Um,
Right.
they we'll go with the line first. They signed Runyon and Luminor, right? And
Yes,
is that how you say it?
I think so.
Those guys you can slot right into the guard positions.
Well, I
Bredesen
think
left.
Illuminor is going to play right tackle, and I think Neal's going to slot over to
Yeah,
guard.
well, I was getting to that, but Bredesen's out to Tampa. These two guys are coming into the line somewhere, right? They're going to play. You have Evan Neal, who we just took a couple of years ago, still on his rookie contract, who has been a bust so far, by all intents and purposes. So that's the big question on the line. But other than that, you got, as a Giants fan, you got to be happy with the Runyon and Luminor sightings. Runyon doesn't like blow you away, but he's played well enough to earn that contract, I think, at the guard position. And honestly, we've had tissue paper at guard for about a decade. So let's go. Let's hope. And that was a funny sequence when they signed him, because I had no idea John Runyon Jr. was a thing. I
I'm like,
thought you
no,
guys are trolling me
he came out
because
of retirement.
Saquon had just signed with Philly, so I thought that was like the corresponding joke. Well, oh, the Giants got John Runyon. No, it's really his kid. So,
Yes.
all right.
Yes.
I've stated before, yes, it's annoying that Saquon is in Philly. It was time to move on, but yeah, I could have done without that.
Yes.
No, but back to the receiving room, it still sucks.
I think at the end of the day, though, Doug, and this is
Yeah,
this is what where I always come back to when we have this conversation. Excuse me.
I know where you're going, and I think I agree, but go ahead.
When you're at the top six in the draft and you have
Yep.
3 to 4 viable QBs depending on who you ask, and you have the ability to either go up 2 spots to grab one of those
Hmm.
QBs, you do it because you
Yeah, you
hope
do.
that you're not here again. So you can draft Odunze or Neighbors or
Yeah,
Harrison if they fall to you, but
you
who the
can't count
fuck
on
is
being there again. Yeah.
and who's throwing them the ball though? You're gonna count on Daniel Jones is like a fucking tackle away from being out of the league.
Hmm.
They are scared to death to let him play this year because he's got a guaranteed contract next year if he gets injured this year. And
Oh God,
then you
that's right.
and then you have
The thing is, though,
Tommy De, Tommy
he,
DeVito and Drew Lock. Like
well, yeah,
who?
no, yeah, you don't. They're not even worth mentioning. But uh, Danny Boy can be cut after next season, and it's not that much of a killer. This season,
Correct.
it is. So what? You only get one. I think as a GM, you only get one shot at this anyway to pick your quarterback. So
Correct.
it's up to Shane. If he can make it happen this year, and he has a guy, boom, you get it done. Because you're right, it's the NFL. You want a rookie on a, especially on that first contract, right? Who can jump in and be successful. And if you have a plan for JJ McCarthy, I'll be skeptical, but I'll support it.
I think
Um,
the the here's the thing, and I was talking about this with Rosen the other day. Your other competition for so let's assume Caleb's going one, right? We can all assume that. Jaden Daniels is probably going number two, although some are saying JJ might be going number two. Okay, then New England at 3 is kind of a wild card, but I think
yes,
they are
they're,
going
they're
to pick
taken.
a QB. I think they're going to take a QB for the exact same reason.
Yeah,
You don't
I
expect to
think
be
they
that
have to.
year. They have to, so it's either going to be Daniels, May, or JJ at 3, and then Arizona does not need a QB at 4, and at 5, the Chargers don't need a QB.
Right,
So if I'm Arizona, you kind of own the keys to this draft, right?
you
And
do.
you got the Giants at 6, who are I will say being at 6 is a slight disadvantage for
It
you
is.
because you don't the Vikings and the Broncos are the other two teams that need QBs. The Broncos, I don't know what their draft capital is, and they're at 12. The Vikings have 11 and 23. I think the Vikings are the biggest threat to move up to 4
Yeah,
and go get that quarterback.
I agree with
I
you.
think if Drake May falls, that's because Josh McCown is the Vikings QB coach, and he was Drake May's high school coach,
Oh
and
yeah,
they
I
may
didn't
even
know
try
that.
to make a move up to get to where the Patriots are. I could see that happening,
Well,
but then
that's why I'm saying maybe you don't force it this year. But I also, you're right. It is a unique position at 6 that you don't want to count on every year. And if you're counting on being top 5 every year, you're not doing anything right.
no, but it's so the
I,
question though is it gonna cost you? It's gonna cost you if to go up to 4 at least the number 6 pick in your second round pick. Is it
which
gonna
is
cost you?
gone, so it'd have to be a future second.
Because you gave that second to Carolina, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
haven't talked
so
about Burns yet, but I love that deal. So I can't get mad
it
about
was a
that.
great deal. It was a great
But
deal. So then how do you
you
get
you
to
make up a
3?
good point though. Is there enough powder in the yeah, dry powder to use on this trade? Yeah,
And maybe Arizona just wants to go back 2 spots to pick up some extra capital and takes the 6 pick and maybe it's 2 next year and a 3 this
yeah,
year or something like
right,
that.
something like that.
Who knows? Who knows?
Um,
But I think the Vikings are coming hard because they're just missing a quarterback. And just you think
well,
Justin
so are we.
Jefferson's going to re-sign a fucking yeah, but
Hell no.
you guys are missing more than just a quarterback. You
Yeah.
don't have a running back right
Well,
now.
again, that's why I don't mind getting that stud receiver.
Okay,
Um, yeah, even if we have to pick up next year's version of Kirk Cousins,
fair. I guess it's not.
I mean, we
I,
have
I
not had that alpha guy since Odell, obviously.
yeah. I mean, but again, who's throwing him the ball? That's my question. Daniel Jones, what I can say of him as an NFL quarterback is not very
I
good.
don't think
It,
anyone's under the delusion he's the plan.
so what's the plan then? Are you going to draft Rome Odunze so that Drew Lock can throw him balls?
Next year, and then you figure out quarterback. But it's not my plan. So if Joe Shane loves, look, do you think? Let me put it this way: is there a way for the Giants to get one of the top three quarterbacks? Because I'm just not
Uh,
convinced that McCarthy is with these other guys.
I
I'm
mean
just not.
McCarthy may go too. There's rumors that Adam Peters and Cliff Kingsbury love him, and
Oh, great.
that's their choice, right? And Dan Quinn, and that's their choice to like
Okay,
be the
they can
guy.
go fuck up then. No, I'm kidding. But look, I don't watch too much college football, so I'm not an authority on this. I watched JJ lead, get a national championship, all the props. I don't see the pro game there, but okay. It was a conservative offense.
I mean, the guy went. So this is what I'll say in con context to what you're saying, or convex to what you're saying.
Yep.
He went like 38-1
I know. It is kind of
in
silly.
college. Like he went
He ain't
to
doing
a
that at
program
MetLife.
where he went to a program where he was asked to manage the offense
Yeah.
because their defense and their run game was
It's just
ridiculous.
there is yeah, monstrous. The
So
Big Ten football.
Harbaugh did what they had to
But
do and they won a championship. So it's not like so the guy's a proven winner and he knows how to be a team first guy. So maybe we haven't seen the best of what he can do. I don't know. I'm not trying to say
wait,
he
weren't we
is or
sold
isn't.
on Daniel Jones with like the culture and the pedigree bullshit too?
I mean no, never me. I mean the only reason that he got so much ilk is because he played under Cutliff
Yeah,
in North
because
Carolina.
he's a student of the game, blah blah blah. Like, can he play? Can he ball? It's the
No.
NFL, baby.
No, he
No,
could run. He could
yeah,
make his
actually, no.
first read and run.
He was. That's what's weird about Dimes or Daniel Jones. Like, there is some stuff there, right?
Yeah, he's got some
He would flash
tools.
too. He had some nice touch sometimes, but
He had some
the
tool.
problem is when you play for just an inept organization, and that's what the Giants have unfortunately been for the last decade. They've been inept. It's hard to even know who. And I don't need to tell this to you as a Jets fan. Sam Darnold just got a nice contract to be a starting quarterback.
Maybe.
Um, well, yeah, but what was I saying? Yeah, I mean, you have to have the JJ has to have the environment to thrive in as well. So sure, and look, I'm not going to lose my shit if that's what they do, because at least that's something to like to get excited about. Like, okay, this is the new era.
And I think,
But he's also not going to have anyone to throw to, dude.
but so
Like
pause. This is a really deep receiver class, and this
it
is a
is.
really deep
They
O
can get some
line
immediate help.
class. So you let's say you go up and you get JJ, and then in the third round or the fourth round, you still are able to get a receiver that can help
Mhm.
you guys out. You guys still have. I wouldn't say your receiver room is barren. You still have
It's not
Slayton.
barren. I didn't say it's barren, but
You have Robinson, and you drafted that kid Hyatt last year. I mean, those guys aren't. I mean, between Robinson and Hyatt, you have some young talent, and Slayton's
we do. But
been.
it's not like Hyatt did anything, and we saw a bunch of rookie receivers ball out last year.
But you also
But
have to
again, there's no
remember that you
quarterback,
had
so
Tommy
it's this.
DeVito.
Yeah, it's the
Tommy
circular
DeVito,
argument.
but I think there was no quarterback, but there was like really no quarterback last year. I mean, like
Yeah,
Like Daniel
that's
Jones
true.
played like
Like
3 games,
there was that game
and
where we
then
didn't do a forward pass or something.
against the
I tried to
Jets,
block
yeah,
most of this out.
dude, you guys had Daniel Jones for like I want to say 3 games last year. Tyrod Taylor
Three
played like
plus,
yeah 3 plus. Tyrod Taylor played like 3 plus games, and
which is
then
what he does.
Tommy DeVito played like the other 11 games, and he got better as the year
He
went
did.
on.
They let him throw forward as the year
Yes,
go on.
but like you weren't essentially like I don't think Tommy DeVito is probably not going to make your roster this year.
No. Well, I
So
mean, it's fine if he's the three, but
fine, but
yeah,
like he probably is going to be your practice squad QB or whatever. Like he was more of a shtick than anything. I mean, the guy
there's a lot to do.
capitalized.
Like we're not fixing the Giants in the draft here. All right, maybe we
No,
are,
well,
but
but the whole
um,
my whole point, and this is where I will rest my case is if you have the opportunity to get the quarterback, whether or not he's the right guy, you take that opportunity
I think we agree.
because otherwise, let's say you take Odunze this year, Daniel Jones plays his mediocre stuff, and you guys go 9-8, right, or 8-9, right, and you're picking 13th this year, and then there's three quarterbacks on the top of the class next year, two, and you got to fucking spend like so much capital to go up and get him
Yeah.
that you fucking stunt any other growth that you may have through the draft.
Or
That's
or
always been.
or you don't or you don't draft a quarterback. I mean, the Falcons are just going with the vet.
I mean, yes, you could go that route.
Um,
I don't know who's shaking free after this
right.
year. I don't know whose
I don't
contracts
either.
are up.
So like, yeah, this might have been a weird off season, but there was a ton of quarterback movement. So I don't
Yeah,
know. I would hate to force it though, because when like especially if like you think you like if you're going against consensus, the old Garth Snow, like I'm gonna make these like weird ass draft picks because I'm smarter than everybody. Like I know something everybody else doesn't. Like
I
that's
mean, he
just what
was
I don't want to see.
revisionist history on Garth Snow wasn't that bad.
It wasn't actually.
Wasn't that
Well, no,
bad.
the motherfucker did screw up a lot of top five picks, but he made some great deals. He has a
Correct.
mixed history. I don't know. It's just look, if JJ's the guy, let's go. I'll give him a shot.
Awesome.
Otherwise, and I don't. So again, like if it's receiver or quarterback, I think I'm going to be fine. Like no matter what, and I can argue the downsides and upsides of both. I think so. Oh, how's that for a spicy take? No, it's dude, it's going to be fun. Like what the? No one knows what's going to happen other than the Bears taking Caleb, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. The draft is a couple weeks away. I
Yep.
think it'll be nice if maybe we can do a show right after that so we can get on board.
We should do
And
our mock and then an instant reaction's hard, right? Because it wraps up at like 11. Maybe we could do an
yeah,
instant
we could
reaction
do
after like pick
maybe,
10.
or we can do an instant reaction. Yeah, after pick 10. We definitely need to do our mock because once again, both teams are picking in the top 10 for
Here we are again.
ever since we've been doing this podcast.
Yes.
And then I think we can do an instant reaction, and then we can do like a whole deep dive into the classes.
Yeah.
So, but
I
anyway,
I should get studying.
you should, so you don't take Zach Charbonnet in the first round this year.
Hey, he's not that bad. But
Uh,
yes, I could
I'll
have
I'll
taken
still
A Chain.
I'll still trade for you. I'll still trade for him if
I
you
know
take
you've been
him.
trying to trade for him the whole time. You can't talk shit.
It's because I'm trying to like unify the backfield. You know,
You
I'm
are by lowballing me. So
well
here we are.
counter
No,
offer, counter
I
offer.
will. We can trade again, right? The freeze is over. Yeah, we'll
Correct,
get it moving again. Don't worry.
correct. So
But I don't have any running backs, so I'm not exactly looking to like give them away. You know?
sure, sure. Do we want to talk anything about hockey?
No, fuck them.
Yeah,
No,
I mean,
they have to win a few more games before they're sucking me in again. Enough.
correct.
This is
I
like,
will say this: shout out to Cal Clutterbuck for becoming the NHL's
oh
all-time
hell
pick goal
yeah.
last night.
Here's the
That
Cal.
here's
Yeah,
the Cal. That's where we'll leave it. That's where we'll leave it. So
well said.
I unfortunately have to run, Douglas.
No, no worries.
It's been a great show.
Yes.
What do you got to say?
Via con Diaz, Luis Gossett Jr. Did you know he passed away today?
I did not. I missed that.
Yeah. So, up Digstown, Iron Eagle, bunch of 80s
Iron
shit
Eagle,
we
great
can't
movie.
even think of right now, but hell of an actor. So, I love doing the actor things. Via con Diaz, Luis.
Bye, Contias. LGJ.
Mhm.
All right, guys. It's been a great show. Dougie, we'll talk next time. Audience, we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.